Hi everybody, this is Jeffrey Weiss from the Preparedness Network. Welcome back to another edition of Chapters. Chapters is a series that we talk about different chapters of books written by a guy named John C. Maxwell. John Maxwell is the foremost authority on leadership development in the world today, and he has inspired thousands and thousands of coaches to develop careers in doing and coaching through his system. And so we're bringing together some of the foremost coaches onto our program and asking them what their favorite book, and then discussing their most interesting chapter in that book and getting in depth into it. So I'm here with Viviana Vargas. Hey Viviana, how you doing?
Hi, how are you, Jeff?
Doing great.
Thank you for having me.
So your book is The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth.
That's the book that I chose, yes.
That's a very good book. And what is the chapter in the book you're looking at?
I'm looking at the law of the mirror.
The Law of the Mirror, that very interesting chapter too. So tell me a little about the chapter.
The law of the mirror says that you must see value in yourself in order to add value to yourself.
Yes.
And in my journey as a John Maxwell coach and life in general, that spoke volumes to me, because many times we wonder why our lives is where it is, right?
Yeah.
Why is my life here? How did I get here? Why am I going in this direction? And to me, it has to do with the value that you put in yourself. How do you see yourself? How valuable you see yourself? And in order for you to add value to yourself, to put yourself through a course, through a class, through education, through an experience, you must have to find some value in yourself. Otherwise, we're not. And if you think about it, that's why so many people on the streets are on the streets, right? They don't find any value in themselves, which is, to me, it would fix so many problems if we could focus on that from youth.
Right. So finding value in it. So how does someone look into themselves and find that value?
So it's different for everyone, I believe.
Yeah.
However, introspection is a great way. Meditation, just take time in your day to really sit down and start, giving yourself time to think. I see it as you take a step back and kind of have a panoramic view of what are the choices I have made in my life so far, why I have made those choices, and were they really valuable choices, or were they just whatever I thought was going to work at the time? So I think introspection and really taking that time to think and evaluate your life, it's a great way to find, how much do I value myself, and if I don't, why not, or if I do, why I do.
Right. Yeah. On my calendar, I have a calendar every day that I calendar everything, and I put every day on my calendar, one of the things that I have in there is my thinking hour.
Yes.
And I have an hour when I just think about things myself, and the things that I need to do. It's a thinking hour. I think that helps in that introspection thing.
Yeah, spending quiet time with yourself. Another thing that has helped me a lot is writing. So I take time. I had a coach that suggested one time to just write for 4 hours or an hour. And I'm like, that's kind of hard for me. I have 2 small children, so it's kind of hard for me to just sit down. But as much as I can, say 10 minutes. Take 10 minutes and just start writing whatever comes to your mind. It doesn't matter what it is. Just write it, journal it. In the end, go back to it. See what it is that you wrote. See what was coming to your mind. Pay attention to that and evaluate, like on a bird's eye view, or if you were not you, right, as you were someone else, evaluate what it is that you're writing, and you can be surprised what comes up.
Okay.
On those sessions.
And in the chapter, John talks about doing the right thing a little bit.
If you go out and do the right thing, that makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way you did the right thing and you feel bad about yourself, right? It's impossible. So when you feel good about yourself, you do good for yourself because you are valuing yourself in that moment. You feel that what you did, that action that you took, gives you value.
How do we know what is the right thing? Because sometimes people get out there and they think they're doing the right thing, but they're actually not.
Yes, that's tricky. That is a tricky thing and controversial, right? Because everyone nowadays with all of these movements and, I think I'm doing the right thing, you think you're doing the right thing. I say follow your gut.
Yeah.
Your gut is never going to lie to you. Whatever you're feeling in your gut, if you have a gut feeling something is not right, it probably is not.
Right.
So follow your gut, and of course, have strong values, right?
Yeah.
Have strong values. Usually, if you're hurting someone else, it's not right. Whether, whatever it is, even if you think it's the right thing, if you're hurting someone else, if what you're doing is, affecting other people, chances are it's not the right thing. So have strong values, have strong ethics. If you do what you say you're going to do, follow through and try to do good as much as you can to others, and you should be okay.
So in the book, John talks about belief, and that comes from how God views you. And John's a Christian, but it's really, I think it relates to whatever God you believe in or whatever you believe. But what does that mean, how God views you?
Well, in my personal opinion, I also believe in God. And so God puts a lot of value in us because we are his creation. So, but in the end, like you said, whatever God you believe in, because I believe in respecting everyone's, beliefs, but it is what do you believe? Like, who do you believe you are in the end? That matters. I read another book, and I'm going to tie this in a little bit because it made such an impact in me, called Atomic Habits. On the book, the author refers to, changing a habit has to do with identity. And so he was talking about a guy who wanted to quit smoking, and somebody offered him a cigarette, and he said, "No, thanks, I'm trying to quit smoking." So that's one way, right?
Yeah.
He said, how about instead of saying, "No, thanks, I'm trying to quit smoking," he would say, "No, thanks, I don't smoke."
Right.
You see the difference? The identity part of it. Who do you identify with? How do you identify yourself as? That is going to come out in your interactions. That is going to come out in your actions. That's going to come out as a professional, as a mother, as a father, whatever role you have in society. Who you believe you are in the end is how we play our lives out. And in the end, that's what's going to lead your life. That's what's going to get you the opportunities or not. It's up to you. If you do put value, do you believe that you have value in yourself? If you're a Christian, such as God has told you to do, if you believe in anything else, in the end is, what is your identity?
Yes.
Who do you believe you are? And that is what's going to play out. So that's what's going to be what role it is that your life is going to do, and how your life is going to play out for you.
In this book, in this chapter, John talks about defeating negative thoughts. How do we defeat negative thoughts about ourselves?
So there are 3 steps to help build your self-image. The first one is guard your self-talk. And we talk to ourselves most of the day.
Yeah.
And we spend most of the day talking to ourselves. So that self-talk is so important. We are often our worst enemies.
Yeah.
So, take a minute and think, would I tell a friend of mine what I tell myself about myself? And if chances are the answers are no. So why would you not love yourself the way you love your friend, right? Why wouldn't you talk to yourself the same way you would talk to your child or to a baby or to something that you love? If you're not something that you love, then chances are that's not going to be very good. And it talks about imposter syndrome. How many times, when you're doing things out there and you're believing them, and then the imposter syndrome kicks in and you start thinking, who am I? Who am I to do this?
Right.
Who am I to do that? Chances are, if you're being bold and going out there and giving yourself the positive talk, you're making an impact in someone else's life, because that's what leadership is about.
Right. I think imposter syndrome is the hardest one to come over a lot of people, because we all have that built into us. It's really hard to defeat that.
It is. And I've heard about like superstars and people like in political positions suffer from imposter syndrome. It's very human. It's a very human thing. However, I don't think it's very hard, but I don't think it's impossible to overcome, because in the end, we are all human. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Everyone is just trying to do the best they can. So why would you be an imposter? It's just
Right.
about everyone is just in the same situation. We're all just human.
So as a coach, how do you help someone defeat the imposter syndrome? When you talk to someone about their imposter syndrome, what do you tell them to do?
Well, we start believing upon this law, the law of the mirror. So you must see value in yourself to add value to yourself. So it's all about asking questions and really grabbing the situations and start kind of peeling them like onions, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's peel the situation. Let's think about, is this real? Is this real thought that you're having?
Yeah.
Does this really play out like this in the real world? Or is this something imaginary that is going on in your mind and holds no water, right? Like there is no backing to this thinking or this idea that you have in your mind. And so it has to be the client, the one that peels the onion, but I do guide them with questions. I do guide them with comments and what I see when they tell me the story. I try to see beyond that and start trying to help them peel those onions and get to the core and to see what really is, and it has nothing to do with what you were thinking about.
Right. So also in this chapter, we'll pivot a little bit. John talks about adding value to others. How do you intentionally add value to other people?
There's so many ways, Jeff. So many ways. All you have to do is reach out to your church, reach out to your local nonprofit. Go to your food bank. I mean, in this world, in this day and time, it's so easy to add value to others. Just volunteer yourself. Volunteer yourself at like I said, your local food bank or whatever it is that you, where you live, where whoever is in need, just go knock on the door of your neighbor and see if they need anything. Maybe they just need to have a conversation. Adding value has so many faces. It's not just giving money, not just giving food, not just giving something. How about giving your time and attention to someone, just listening, sitting down and caring really for that person and the situation they're going through. And you can easily add a lot of value to somebody's life. And it doesn't cost you a dime.
And when you add value to others, it helps add value to yourself, right?
Exactly.
That's what John's quote is like.
Yes, you see yourself as a valuable person. So in order for you to add value to yourself, you must see yourself as someone of value.
Right. You have to add value to others to add value to yourself.
Absolutely.
And then it's not only about, the adding value to others and adding value to yourself, but it's also about becoming aware of that and becoming and recognizing when you do that, right?
I feel like many times because we're always taught about be humble, you have to be humble. Well, one thing is being humble and another thing is putting yourself down. So we have to be very careful with that. There's a fine line between being humble and putting yourself down. So we can still be humble. You don't have to be shouting off the top of the roof, every time you do a good deed. However, don't put yourself down, because when you go out and you help someone out of the goodness of your heart without waiting for anything in return, that is a great act. That is a great thing, and we can be touching lives every day of our lives if we believe and have the intention to do it.
So let's talk a little about you. So who are you?
I became a certified John Maxwell leadership coach in 2020. So right when the pandemic hit, I went through a hard journey of finding value in myself in order to add value to myself. And then I realized that just joining the John Maxwell team and going through the certification was me finding enough value in myself to add value to myself. And so by adding value to myself, I was able to add value to other people, because I was training myself and acquiring tools that I needed in order for me to be able to go out there and help out other people. So that made me feel good about myself. And the journey has been pretty incredible. It's not a straight line,
No.
It's ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's always, some days are better than others. Some days you really do believe in yourself. Some days you're thinking, the imposter syndrome hits, and you're like, what am I doing? But I found, I've trained myself to have, and then through the books of John, the law of the mirror and so on, you find the tools to overcome those, and then it just becomes automatic. I recognize a thought, I eliminate it immediately, and I go on with my day. I continue to add value to people and to be of value wherever I am needed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what kind of coaching do you do?
Okay, right now I do personal development with nonprofits I have done. I've been collaborating very closely with the Chambers of Commerce of the area where I live, which is the Antelope Valley, California, Southern California. Yeah. So I've been working very closely with them, with the entrepreneurs over there. I have a group of women that meet every other Monday, and we encourage each other and give tools to each other. So right now, I would say I'm focusing a lot on entrepreneurs and their mindset. Yeah. The entrepreneurial mindset it's very important as an entrepreneur to have the right mindset to keep going, not giving up, and to see the journey how it is. Many times we go into entrepreneurship, and because there's so much noise in the social media, you think, oh, I'm going to become rich so quick. And those get rich quick scams are not real. Right. There's nothing quick about success. There's nothing quick about anything like that, especially not entrepreneurship. So I focus a lot in the entrepreneur mindset. However, right. I love to build leaders. You know, right now I am working on a youth workshop. It's called Developing Our Next Generation of Leaders in the area where I live as well. And we're looking for young people in social difficult position that would like to take the leadership classes. And they have been funded by the city of Palmdale, which is where I live. So we're just looking for the young people. We have everything. We have everything we need to roll out the program. We're just looking for the young people to come so we can help them into becoming the great leaders of the future.
That's great. So are you part of the John Maxwell youth initiative that he has?
Yes, that's correct. So
tell us a little about that youth initiative that John does.
Well, the youth initiative, it's value-based leadership. So what that initiative does is through the programs that John has, you hold small table discussions with the youth, and we go through values that are what leadership is, right? Like we teach them that leadership is not sitting on a desk and telling people what to do. Being a boss is not the same. So we help them build themselves up. We help them with values like responsibility, like forgiveness, accountability. So we go through the concept. What does that concept really mean? What is the real meaning of that concept? What does accountability mean? Then we go through some exercises, and they have to do it in a group. So there's group discussion. They talk to each other. They express themselves, and then we review in the end. And they have to give themselves a grade. It's pretty awesome. The youth people, they really like it because it's not, they often think, oh, I'm going to just be sitting down there and watching this person talk. And when it's not, it's them doing the talking. It's very refreshing because a lot of young people, they just want to be heard. They just want to be understood. And when that happens in the groups that I have done, it's very refreshing. They're so smart. They're very encouraged, and you can see the leaders in them starting to blossom for sure. That's
exciting. So, Viviana, how can we get in touch with you if we want to find out more about you?
Sure. My company name is Creating Ripples Leadership Training and Development. I'm on Facebook. You can look me up that way, Creating Ripples Leadership Training. I'm also on Facebook as an individual, Viviana Vargas. My website actually is the one that belongs to the John Maxwell team. So it's johnmaxwellgroup.com/Viviana Vargas. Or you can text me to my phone. My phone number is 661-470-0142. Or you can send me an email to Viviana Vargas Leadership Coach @gmail.com.
So if you have any questions for Viviana and you wanted to, we'll have all of her contact information down below in the notes field, so you can get a hold of her anytime. We have our information down there as well, and as well as some of the coaching programs that we do throughout the year. We have some really good ones coming up. That Leadership Gold. We have our 5 levels of leadership coming up starting next month, so you can get onto those programs. As always, please do like and subscribe and comment any questions down in there. And please share this video with other people so that we can spread the word of how great these books are that John Maxwell has written for us. And so thank you so much for being on our show today.
Thank you for having me, Jeff.
And we'll look forward to some more stuff from you, and we'll go there.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.